Well, hey everybody, it is Romania Black, and we're on episode 9 of Skip and Loafer. And man, episode 8 was definitely Rule of 8 worthy. Oh my god. I've been joking in the Discord that Rurika is like, she's like Scarlet Envy from Drag Race, where Scarlet Envy's like, what drama? Am I the drama? Maybe I am. And I'm like, yes, you are the drama. We thought it was going to be Igashira. No, Igashira is not the drama. Rurika is the drama. And we need to do like Mean Girl style, pull up, be like, get in, Rurika, we're going to therapy. Leave Shima alone. So we're in the last arc of the season, episodes 9, 10, 11, and 12. I have a feeling that the whole thing with Rurika, I hope that the season finale is Shima not only defending Mitsumi, because Mitsumi is like a pure summer lamb and a good friend, but I also feel like Shima needs to just get away from her toxicity, because her just trying to blame him for everything it's one of those things where it sucks the position that she's in. It really does, and you feel for her in that regard, but girl, you can't drag people down with you, especially because Shima was, one, your age, and seems from the flashback like he was like kind of in the same position you were. So there's a lot to talk about. We talked about it last episode, but I'm going to be curious to see what this show does, considering that is our drama storyline. But I've got a few comments that we need to touch base on before we start. Francesca White 4166 commented that Mitsumi wanted to be in the national government as an adult, and becoming mayor was just some measly little side gig she'd do after she retired. And I was like, oh yeah, so she's literally Leslie Knope. 100%, but I love Mitsumi for it. So thank you for that clarification, Francesca. I appreciate it. KA noted with voice actors that Hiroto, who is the new student council president, has the same voice actor as young Reiner from Attack on Titan, which is pretty cool. And then Rurika's voice actress has voiced several roles in Bungo Stray Dogs, in Violet Evergarden, and in Kase-san and Morning Glories, which is, I haven't watched that in a long time. So that's really, really cool. And then Kanachika's dad is the same voice actor as Sadanosuke, the dog. So I'm like, I love that they're like, hey, while you're also playing this character's dad in this flashback, like little home family video, can you also voice Mitsumi's dog? He's like, sure, a paycheck is a paycheck. So I thought that was really funny. And then H Banana 7 talked about how the lotus flowers behind Mitsumi in episode 7, when she was like, I am of pure sound and mind, not thinking about my crush on Shima at all. The lotus flowers behind her in that image symbolize purity, and how Mitsumi supposedly is being portrayed of having this zen of lacking unwieldy desires. Sure, we'll go with that. Honestly, Mitsumi, if she does have a crush on Shima, is the most innocent thing in the world. It would be like my crush on someone, the most innocent thing. Whereas Rurika seems to take it all very much out of context. And it's like, girl, you need to... I get lots of Ugetsu vibes from Rurika from Given. So if that explains anything, go watch that if you want to see more of those vibes. But thank you all so much for the comments. I really appreciate it. So we're going to get started with episode 9, but real quick before we do, I want to give a shout out over to our philanthropy tier over on Patreon. These patrons, everybody on YouTube is super awesome in supporting me and giving views to these videos, but the people on Patreon are equally as awesome, and these patrons go above and beyond all the tiers to give me recognition and support on the channel. So I want to give them a special shout out. So thank you, Alex Cornejo. Thank you, Anime Annie. Thank you, Be Happy, to Dana, to Danger Zone, to Destiny Marie. Thank you to Eric, to Curie, to Lyndon. Thank you to Matthew Palfiniere, to Murphew, to Nicholas, to Nameless Monster, as well as Shimoyama, to Sunspots, to Trails, to Translucent Men, as well as to Mateo El Fidel. Thank you all so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. So yeah, there's a storm brewing outside, so hopefully we will be fine, but I could not wait anymore. I was like, before the storm gets too crazy, I want to watch Skip and Loafer, so yay. So we're going to start this episode and see what we get with episode 9, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. This episode was so good. Oh my god. There was such a mood with this episode, and it really, like, it hits you emotionally. And there was a couple moments I was like, "Oh, I'm getting caught up in the emotion of this moment, let me tell you," because it just there was just something about it, the way that if you're from somewhere that's rural or from the country, then, like I grew up. So Mitsumi's whole trip back home, there were so many elements of it I instantly connected to and resonated with, and I was like, yes, that's my childhood, that's my life, that's every day. And from someone that's gone to like a city to go to college, when you come back home, it is that feeling, right? Like, I never had to fly to go home. It was a 4-hour drive. It was 4 hours to drive from the college I went to my home. And so I do know that feeling, though, of like waking up and getting your stuff together and like leaving the house and it's all empty, and you're leaving your apartment and you're getting in your car, and there's that feeling of travel. And there's something so liberating and free about when you reach that age. And she's just in high school. I can't imagine as a high schooler getting on a plane. I just had to go home from high school. That just blows my mind. Like, this felt like a college journey, right? But just that feeling of getting up early and leaving to travel, and that feeling of being by yourself and traveling, and you feel so free and you feel so adult. And it's such a vibe. And then I love that now, getting now up, and now it's like, oh hey. Like, are y'all good? I've been now before. I was like, okay, you're all good. I'm gonna go back to bed as soon as you leave, because it's like 5 something in the morning. I also love that Mitsumi has inherited a lot of her features from Now. Like, her hair is like Now. Her eyebrows are a little bit more full than Now's are. Now has their brother's eyebrows. But I love that Mitsumi has so much of Now's features. It's so sweet. But I just love already that comparison of seeing Mitsumi, when we first saw her in episode 1, being this frazzled mess moving from the country to the city, and in 4 months' time she has suddenly gained this air of confidence about her, that as she's traveling back home, she doesn't, she's not frazzled and like, where do I go, how do I navigate the train system, I'm by myself. She knows what to do. And that's so good, right? That's so awesome that she has that confidence in her. And then when she lands, I want to see, like, what did she look like? The tranquility. It looks like it's a 1-hour plane ride, which is insane, or like 45 minutes or however long it is flying home. But when she looks back and sees the plane, it's just in the countryside. Like, she's back home and it's the country. And instead of this big airport terminal where there's like planes everywhere, it's just the one little plane at this little rural airport. And it touches my heart so much. I absolutely love it. So I'm also noticing that the flowers, as the episodes go on, the flowers bloom more and more, which is really fun. But yeah, her coming out with the sunglasses on, they're like, oh yeah, she's putting on big city airs, the city girl. I will admit, I've had that moment too, where you come back from college and you're like, yes, I'm educated and worldly, and my parents are like, you went 4 hours away. Let's be real. Let's be real. But you gain this sense of independence at that age, where when you travel by yourself and when you're kind of on your own, so to speak, even though Now's with Mitsumi, that you gain this air of confidence about you, and you kind of do mature a little bit. And I kind of love that. But I love that there's still like a little bit of childishness there, because she is in high school, I love it. Also, I do think that Mitsumi's parents kind of look a little bit similar featured. They're like the couple that kind of look similar, but Now definitely gets all the looks in the family. Now, Mitsumi's sister is gorgeous. Like, she's so pretty. And Mitsumi's pretty too, but like her sister is like the anime pretty, like you normally see like an anime character. I like her little brother. Her little brother looks like such a little rapscallion, right? And her giving all the gifts to her parents. I love that her dad instantly puts the keychain on the wallet. That was so cute. I was like, he just does it. Her dad is so quiet, and her dad is just like, just does it and doesn't say anything. I love that. That's so sweet. I feel like her mom, Mitsumi's mom, is the more gung-ho of the two, and the dad is the more quiet, stoic type, which is interesting, because Now is very like full of energy and full of, kind of like Mitsumi is. I also like, this is the tiniest little detail, but I really like, and I'm sure someone doing translations will tell me the Japanese translation, but the subtitles, when the mom says, "Oh, how's now? Is she doing well?" The fact the parents are both totally on board with now being trans is really, really cool. And I like how progressive Mitsumi's family is, which is great, right? I think that people in rural areas get a bad rap sometimes for not being progressive or being kind of backwards and like, oh, hillbillies with their banjos playing. And don't get me wrong, in the US, there's plenty of that. Don't get me wrong. But there's also, as someone that came from a rural background and has family and friends that are rural, not everyone is a hillbilly and not everyone is like a redneck or somebody that's not educated or not intelligent. There are plenty of intelligent, progressive people that are open-minded in rural areas. And I think that deserves to be said and noticed in media because sometimes it does get a bad rap. So I appreciate her family being this kind-hearted, open-minded family. And the show doesn't have to draw attention to it. Also, the grandmother is amazing. I love that the grandmother is doing a quite, I say Southern woman thing, but I realize they're in Northern Japan. She's doing the very much like just the country matriarch where your dinner wear will match what you wear at any event. Oh my gosh, it's so true. It's like all of the grandmother figures that I was around growing up, like the Tupperware matched the clothes or matched the jacket. It was like you came as a set. And that's so good. And I love that they have these traditions where she's like, the first scoop goes to the gods and then the rest goes to the family. And like there's all of this. What I love about Mitsumi's family and it being rural is it's so steeped in these traditions. And there's this tranquility and this zen and this just peacefulness that is surrounding that area that as someone that's lived in a city for a period of time, I understand why people live in cities. And there are some people that love cities and they think the country is the most boring place in the world. I feel you. I get you. But as someone that's lived in both, there's just something so peaceful about the country that just melts stress away. And it's just so relaxing. And I want, like, watching this episode and watching the first half, I wanted Shima to go and see this tranquility because Shima needs it. Ever since last episode, now that we come back, like Mitsumi comes back from summer break and she's reinvigorated. She's got all this energy. She's excited. She's matured a little bit. She's got a tan. And Shima looks like he's just had a miserable time because his friends aren't there. And even though he has friends that are actor friends, it's very clear that he's not mentally doing well. And I think she's weighing on his mind. I think that she's not the type of person he needs to be around because she's toxic and she's not a good friend. She doesn't need to be his friend. And I kind of talked about that last episode at length, but it's one of those things where I feel like Shima, he's been so manipulated and guilt tripped by her about what happened when they were in elementary school. And it wasn't even that he directly caused anything. We don't know the full story. We know her side of it, but we don't exactly know like the full scenario of things. But for her to keep making him feel so horrible and he takes it to heart, that's the thing. He takes it to heart so much and he thinks he's worthless and he has no self-esteem and he doesn't think he's a valuable person. And I'm like, if Mitsumi knew he thought that, she thought he was feeling bad and she gave him the extra crackers. But I'm sure if I almost want Mitsumi to find out how he feels about himself. And then for her to be like, no, you are worth it. I don't know who's told you otherwise, but you shouldn't listen to them. He just needs to get away from Rurika and not be around her. And she needs to go to therapy. And it's one of those things where even though you grew up and there was a comfort between the two of you, it's clear now that that comfort is no longer there and it's just toxic. So you just need to separate, go separate ways, live your own lives, and not be around each other anymore. And I need Shima to get to that point to tell her that he doesn't want to be around her anymore. Because what is she going to do? She's not going to bring it. Here's the thing. I'm like, I think if he just tells her that he doesn't want to be around her anymore and that she needs to figure things out but he doesn't want to be a part of it, I don't think she can do anything. Because what is she going to do? Is she going to tell his friends? I think Mitsumi wouldn't judge him. And she can't really hold it over him career-wise because he doesn't have a career in acting. So that's not going to make any difference. So I just feel like Ruruka has everything to lose. And Shima's just like, I don't want to be around you. And she just needs to let him go. But that's neither here nor there, is it? No. But I love this episode and the atmosphere of it. It's so beautiful. And I love that Mitsumi's telling her grandma like how to do certain things on the phone that she's learned technology wise. And the grandma's like, okay, city girl, I'll do that maybe. Turn the sound off. But I love that. I love her like eating the little bit of rice as she goes. And they brought out a spread. I love the cat under Mitsumi is like trying to get the fish. Like, oh, hell yeah. Those short tables, our house cat would be like all over that. No, that fish would not last. These are the most well-behaved cats in all the world to not take a fish and run off with it. But I love it, them doing the dishes and cleaning up, and then them all like having like a siesta, a post-meal nap. Man, that is so relatable. Anytime like a family has a big meal and then you eat and then like after the meal you just like pass out in the floor or on the couch. I did that so much as a kid. You just like ate all this food, then you were in a food coma and you woke up like at 7 p.m. and you were wired. And that's exactly what happens. Fumi comes over and they end up all going in to hang out. I like that Fumi has a boyfriend and she's like seemed mature, which is really, really cute. And that she seems to have grown up. I like that Mitsumi also calls, or Fumi also calls Mitsumi pretty. And Mitsumi's like, oh, what, me? What? I like that Fumi thinks she's equally as beautiful because she is. Mitsumi's really pretty. And then I like this friend group because when Mitsumi said her friends from school, from middle school, I feel like I was just thinking of girls, but I like that there's guys here too, like from middle school. I like Tachan that looks like he's like such a school delinquent, you know. I think of Kachan from My Hero Academia, but Tachan, I like that she's like, I'm classier now. You wouldn't get it though, Tachan. I like that she's childhood friends with him and he's just like this delinquent looking guy. It's fun. I had lots of guy friends growing up, and it's cool to have a friend group where you're all just kind of platonic friends regardless of your sex or gender or anything. It's great. I love that they all have the fireworks. They hang out on the beach. I got Yuri on Ice vibes. It was great. And I love when Fumi's like, you know, you were learning the standard Japanese so that you could fit in the big city. And I love that Mitsumi's like, I was, but I met these people who don't judge me for that. And so I quit doing it. I love that Mitsumi's like, I'm just myself. And I feel like Mitsumi understands how lucky she is to be able to have friends that don't judge her based on how she talks. It's great. So yeah, and then just all these little things like the way that their family is just hanging out, playing on the Wii games, everything. I can relate to Mitsumi when you go home and you get to sleep in. And growing up on a farm, like my biological clock, I'm up at like 6 a.m. every day. It's just worked in my system. I can't help it. But occasionally I'll sleep until like 7. And then I feel like I've slept in all morning, right? And again, it's the same feeling with my family where they're like, oh, you slept until 7, huh? And I'm like, I know, right? It's something. My family's like up at 5 a.m. because they're crazy. And when you live on a farm, you have to be up that early, right? But I love that feeling of when she's like, oh, you're too full about watermelon. You're like, mm-hmm. Because yeah, summer watermelon, just eating that, like that's the one thing you can eat even if you're full. And I love her looking over to her mom, like cleaning the dishes, and just that sense of peace and that sense of just like normalcy and comfort. Like this whole first part of the episode was just comfort. And the sad thing is, from what we know about Shima, he doesn't have anything like this in his life. He doesn't have that comfort that she does. And that makes me want her to like bring him back so he can see her family, even though her dad might be like, what? And her mom might be like, what? But I feel like Shima needs to see this Zen to get why Mitsumi is the way that she is, right? And so that he can have a little piece of that, because I doubt that Shima has. But this whole episode was just beautiful. Like, I loved the little raccoon thing. I have one that's a basketball from Kroger's Basketball, so this must be the same area you get those. Just like the vines, the ships, everything. The wide shots where it's just so peaceful and calm, and there's just a few people. It's so good. And they all just go to the beach. It's lovely, and they just have this like nice day at the beach. Everybody gets tan. They find this sea hare. That thing looks like a Pokemon. It looks absolutely terrifying. I think if I saw that in an actual lake, I would freak out. Like the crabs would be bad enough because anytime I go to the beach, it's like you're always afraid a crab's gonna like pinch your toes. That thing would terrify me. I'd be like, nope, to the beach we go. We'll build sandcastles. We don't need to be in the water. It's fine. But yeah, and then it's over. And then summer break is over. So on the one hand, I'm sad that summer break was only like half an episode in this series. But on the other hand, I love that the first part of this episode was called Drowsy because it's just kind of like laid back, quiet, just peaceful. It's like you go home over break to recharge your batteries, and then you come back to school and it's like go go go. We're in the middle of school festival mode. We're doing a school festival. I'm so excited. I love when anime that are high school centered do school festivals. I think one of my favorites is actually My Hero Academia, when they did like a little mini school festival arc. So cute. It was so fun. Krokus Basketball has done festival arcs as well, with the school festival. Free has done, usually sports anime do culture festivals, and they're great. I think Free, Krokus Basketball, My Hero Academia, those are probably three of my favorites that have done school festivals, but this might be up there. So I'm excited. And Mitsumi's just like, oh my gosh. And so she greets that dog, and the dog's like, hey, welcome back. And she's like, yeah. And then I love that her friends are really happy to see her. But of course, Shima's like kind of like, oh, hey, long time no see. But it's instantly noticeable that he's down and out. He's not feeling the best. And I think that is kind of one of the things Mitsumi, whether she realizes it or not, was trying to do, was to get his attention. Because I think inadvertently or instinctually, she realized something was wrong and maybe he wasn't feeling good. And she was trying to like cheer him up. I've noticed that too. Like sometimes when you're around your friends and you can tell that they don't feel good, or you can tell something's off, like you want to like get them like a snack or something, or be nice to them, extra nice, or be like, hey, let's go do some fun, because you can tell that they're kind of having a bad day. And I felt like that's how she felt with Shima, and she just didn't know how to deal with it. But I'm glad that her and Shima are okay right now, because for a moment it seemed like he was drifting away from her. Like when she was like, oh, sometimes friends drift away after break. And I was like, no, Shima needs Mitsumi. Like, not to fix him. No, that's not like a fix it story at all. But Shima needs a positive friend in his life that doesn't know his past, doesn't care about his past, just cares about him in the present and future. And I think Mitsumi is one of the only people that he has in his life that's like that. And so, as much as I love the idea of them as a romantic couple, like seasons on, for right now, he just needs Mitsumi as a friend, because he doesn't have a lot of non-toxic friends that we've seen, like Chris is and Mukai is. But other than them and like the classmates he has, like he needs that positivity in his life, because otherwise he's not getting it. People like Rurika is just reminding him of everything bad in his past and not of the good that could come from the future. Also, Kanachika, I love that he has like the pink bandana, and he's just like, he's talking about them building props for their stage play. I'm like, oh, I was in stagecraft, know how this goes. But it's interesting that he gives Shima the script to read. I feel like, I don't know why, because Shima was an actor, not a writer. So it's not like, I mean, I don't think Kanachika is expecting him to like use any connections to give the script to somebody to read. I don't think that's the case. Not necessarily. But I feel like Shima was just like, oh, I don't know. And then, because he doesn't want to be reminded of his past, because then he thinks about Rurika, and then, you know, he also, the one thing that also sucks is that it almost seemed like he wanted to read the script. But the thing is, Rurika has like poisoned things with him so much that he doesn't think he even deserves to have fun. He doesn't think he deserves to do anything well. Like, he's going to cram school. He's just staying away from home. He's going to cram school. He's not doing things that are fun because he feels like he doesn't deserve it. And I'm like, you got to get away from her, or you're never going to have fun in your life. She is going to drag you through the coals the rest of your life because of how she feels about all of it. Rather than her go to therapy and get things sorted out, she's just going to use you as her scapegoat for her feelings and insecurities for the rest of your days. And I was like, no, Shima deserves better than that, because he was in elementary school and he didn't, do anything directly to her. They just both got involved in a situation. And while it's sad that she got the rough end of the stick and it's a double standard, it's not, something that he should have held over him the rest of his days. Oh. Anyway, I like that Kunami and Yuzuki are happy to see her. They do like little friend circle. It's great. And then Mitsumi is like, Igashira! And she's like, have these cookies. I don't want to eat them. I love that Igashira's like, and give one to Now too, I guess. I like that Igashira is wanting to be friends with Now, and then she's like, it's a long story, so don't worry about it. I love that you can tell Mitsumi has the tan, like it's very noticeable. That one girl got super tan. She should have put some sunscreen on, for real. But yeah, I love it. I also love, I've realized that Kunami is kind of a foodie, and as a fellow foodie, I relate. But she has these squid crackers, which are super cute. I've never had squid crackers, so I don't know how they taste. I'm assuming Kunami says they're good, but also Kunami may think everything is tasty, so I have to see on that. But yeah, but it's almost like, I also get the feeling that Shima is trying not to get too close to Mitsumi because he does not want Rurika to figure out that she's super close with Shima, because I think he's afraid that Rurika is kind of crazy enough to go after Mitsumi and follow her down and like try to set her in her place. And I think Shima wants Mitsumi to deal with none of that. And I don't blame him, but it just sucks that he's kind of like denying himself this friendship and letting it be the dynamic it could be because he's afraid that Rurika is going to be mad that he's friends with people she doesn't approve of. And I'm like, get away from her. She really makes me mad. But yeah, and I think Mitsumi can kind of tell that things are off with him. Okay. And when they said, did you get a girlfriend? I was like, did Shima posing with Rurika? Because I don't think that's the case. But no, it's this other guy. And the poor Yamada's so upset. He's like, she's even cute. And the other guy's like, yes, she is. I like that Mitsumi thinks that Yamada is somewhat competent and knowledgeable of dating. So that's really funny. I'm like, I don't know, Mitsumi, if you should listen to everything Yamada says, because Yamada does not have a girlfriend. And this one guy with freckles that thinks he has good hair, I'm like, the guy behind him's like, sure. It's so funny. But everybody's like comparing their tan. I would be the girl with the hair barrettes. I don't tan well. And my skin is very sensitive to UV, so I try not to tan if I can't help it. But yeah, and so people break up. Some people get more on track with things. Some lighten up. And then some get closer. And then some grow more distant. But I don't want her and Shima to drift away. I also like the Taka, our girl. She's just like, are you vibing to the max? I was like, oh my god, no, she's learning the slang. She learned slang from the soccer team over summer break. I would like to imagine that she like hung out with the soccer team with the captain and the president, and it was a thing. Hilarious. So, okay. This school festival is open to public audiences. We all know what that's going to mean. Rurika's going to show up at the damn play. She's probably going to see Shima acting. She's going to make a scene. She's going to be the drama. And I'm like, oh, no. They already have enough drama. They're doing a play. They don't need you added, girl. But you know she's going to show up. You know she's going to show up. I don't know if Mitsumi is going to confront her. But if Mitsumi does confront Rurika, I hope that Shima gets in the last word with her and he gets to the point where he like acknowledges he doesn't need her anymore. I need that to happen by the end of the season. I need it. Also, it could mean that any of Shima's friends could show up. They made a point to say that friends and family can come. So is any of Shima's family going to show up? Is his little brother going to be there? I don't know. I don't think Mitsumi's family is going to be there because it's really far away, right? It's really far away. So, I mean, I think that could be like the comparison where Mitsumi's like, I got to go see my family over the summer in this Tranquil Zen. But then when she's at this big school with all these people, her family isn't there. So there's that contrast. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But this festival primer, like all of student council and the club representatives, they're like, here's what's going on. This is how this festival's going down. It's a big deal. There are restrictions, particularly for the festival club. I want to go over the restrictions and requirements in detail. Like this is a full on, like there are a whole manual that you guys need to know. So it says prospective students and their parents can attend. So I guess students coming there and parents can go. So maybe it's not these people's parents, but it could be like students that are going to go there in the future. But yeah, Mitsumi sees like there's like chemistry, there's food, there's music. I think of the Maid Cafe from Free. There's a haunted house with a creepy bear. I think she's thinking of all these things like, and she's just like, oh, there's a sports festival, there's music, there's lights. Like she's just getting so excited. There's the Maid Cafe, yeah, where the guys dress up as the maids. Yes, I feel like Yamada would end up in that, but they're doing a play, so no, not gonna happen for their group. But she's like, there's so much. I like that Taka is like, yeah, there's a lot that we have to do, Mitsumi. It's gonna be a big deal. But then the club president's like, nah, student council president's like, we got this. Everything's fine. I can tell that our vice president, is thinking that he has no idea what all is entailed. And she's like, you have no clue. And then Mitsumi's like, well, I can't tell Fumi about all of this. She's like, because if I call her, it's like I'm showing off all the things we're doing at our big fancy Tokyo school that your high school isn't doing. Because yeah, our school didn't do anything like this, obviously. She's like, so who can I tell? And that's when she's like, oh, I can tell Shima. And I want to go talk to him. And she says, is he busy? Would I be a bother? Now, before, she wouldn't have thought about that. But the fact that she kind of likes him, I think, is like the first thing. Because when you just are friends with somebody, it's just like, it's fine. But if there's that little inkling of, I might like you romantically, then you start to ask those questions like, I don't want to be too clingy. I don't want to be like too much, or am I not enough? Like you start asking those questions. She's asking those questions without even realizing that she's into him. So there's that. But yeah, she's like, oh, I'll be back, senpai. I'm going to come back in 10 minutes. And they're like, okay. And then she goes over to him to give him the squid crackers. And she's like, when you're really happy, you want to share it. It's so strange. But yeah, I like that and of course when she shows up again, looking like Light Yagami, was like, hey, I caught you. And he's like, what? I'll find you. And he's like, I like that she can't even explain. She's like, squid crackers, hometown, eat these. And he's like, okay, sure. And him taking it. And then she like explains everything that's going on and that there could be 7,000 people there. And she just explains all of it. And she explains it all to him and then realizes, oh, you probably think this is really boring. And she's like, I just wanted to share the excitement. And he's like, oh, well, you really love these kind of events, don't you? And then she's like, yeah, because I don't ever get to see any of them for real. So for me, seeing all this for the first time is going to be like a big deal. You know, it's something that she's not used to. And she's like, well, it's very exciting, but she's like, I can't be acting like a giddy schoolgirl from a class rep. And then he's just like, well, it's no big deal. She's like, I have to be a cool and composed adult like you. And he says, you think too much of me. And no, I feel like Shima, now that we know kind of what's going on behind the scenes, it's easier to tell that he's like not happy and it's all a facade and it's just all a mask to hide that he's really not feeling good. And him saying, you think too much of me, it's like, no, Shima is as good as she believes he is. He just doesn't have that esteem, which is the most wild thing because, you know, on the outside, you think he has so much going for him, but that's not how he thinks inside. And he's like, you're wrong. And then, yeah, Rurika's like, I get frozen in place because I don't deserve anything. And that's why he can't go forward because he's just stuck. Oh, I hate that. And he's like, you're all so dazzling and so far away. Like he feels like he has no right to be next to people that are so happy and seem like they have their life put together. And I love that as he says that she's so far away, Mitsumi turns around and runs back to him. Like, no, we're not far away. We're right here. And you're right here with us. You just have to believe it. And I love she gives him 3 squid crackers. And then as she walks away and runs away. And I feel like that little moment, that gesture as he holds the crackers, like this kid that thinks that the world is against him and he has nothing and nobody cares about him, like Mitsumi's little act and that gesture of giving him the extra crackers, like, no, you deserve this. That's huge. That's huge. It's just, oh my God, I can't. I love it so much. I love it so much. But yeah, so, oh my God, y'all, just, it's wonderful. So I love this episode so much. The ambiance of it, oh, everything. And then she's like, we've only got a few months left. We have to cherish and enjoy the rest of it. And then it's like, okay, so the options were puzzle game, consultation center, TV show screening, a roller coaster, maid cafe. But they're like, we're going to put on a play. Let's do this. And Mitsumi's like, oh, that's the one thing Shima doesn't want to do is a play. But he almost seems kind of like his eyes are sparkling. Like he almost is like, oh, we're doing a play. Oh, okay. I mean, you know Shima's going to be cast in it. Like, you know they're going to want Shima to be like the main role. Right? They're going to want him to be that. So, what is he going to do? Maybe, and here's the thing. The thing about it is, and the reason why maybe looking back on previous episodes, the reason why Shima may have been so mad about Kanachika's like home video and the fact that when he talks about people moving forward and Kanachika like pushing ahead, maybe there's a part of Shima that's kind of jealous because Shima doesn't think he deserves to be able to pursue the things that he likes because of what he did in the past. And then he sees Kanachika like being able to be an actor and living his full life with it and enjoying it. And he feels like he gets envious of that because maybe Shima wants to be an actor. Maybe he likes acting. Like his eyes kind of light up at that moment. Maybe he likes acting. But Ruruka has convinced him that he can't do that and he can't be happy with his life because of what's happened to her in the past. And so she's trying to guilt trip him into not wanting to do what he wants to do. That's not fair. No. I'm like, you be George Clooney, Shima, and you marry a politician wife. You do that. I'm like, I want George Clooney. I want Shima to be like George Clooney and Mitsumi to be like his like activist politician wife. Like, do that. I'm here for it. But yeah, I think he really wants to act. And this whole time, he's just been holding himself back and telling himself he can't do it because he doesn't think he's worthy enough and deserves to have that happiness. You do, Shima. You do. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't you dare. Oh. So I guess we'll see what we're going to happen with this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait, y'all. I really want to see what happens next. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait. But we'll see. We'll see. I definitely will read your questions. Please no spoilers, hints or clues, but so we'll see. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. I hope you enjoyed this reaction discussion. I'm excited to hear your comments down below. And I'll be back very soon with more of Skip and Loafer.